here to share with you a tool that we use at the Ujamaa Centre. Contextual Bible Study is part of a method that we use, which is called See, Judge, Act. The method comes from the Latin American tradition, especially the young Christian workers. And this method was made popular by Joseph Cadine, a Catholic priest, who took an interest in the conditions of workers and took sabbatical from his ministerial duties and went to visit unemployed and casual workers and reading the Bible with them. He started with the C in the method. The C is what is going on in your context. What are the challenges? What are the issues in your context? And the question of what is going on is a question that Richard Osman, the practical theologian, has used as well as part of his framework, which unpacks the context. So a C is a social analysis phase of the method, where you begin to analyze the causes and the consequences of your problems in your context. But you do that with your community. You don't do that as an individual. You create space for the community to engage about what is the challenge in their context. And they can give a whole list of issues in their context. But at the end of the day, as a facilitator of the process, you must be able to help the community arrive at a point where they narrow it down to one or two critical issues in their context. And by the end of the process, they might come up with one issue that they want to engage with. And that will be the C process. It can be done in a day if you are pressed with time, but in an ideal situation, it should be done in a process of about 2 to 3 days that you work with this See, Judge, Act method. Once the C is complete, you then move into the second phase of the process. And the judge in this case does not mean being judgmental. I'm aware that in many contexts, the judge is a negative terminology. The judge simply means discernment, being able to identify what is positive and what is negative in the context. So the judge here becomes the biblical text, that you use the biblical text to navigate your context. You're asking questions about how would God respond to a situation of injustice. And in this case, we know that the Bible is full of biblical texts that address issues of justice. And therefore, you're using the Bible to address those injustices. And then you arrive at a situation where you choose a particular biblical text that you think best suits the situation that you are engaging with in your C. So the C must complement the judge. The issue in the C must be addressed now within the judge, biblically and theologically, to discern God's truth in the text. And once that is done, you then move and say, now that we know what the situation is in the context of the C, and now that we also know that the Bible challenges this context as well as something that is unjust, what can we do now to change the injustice that we see? Using the Bible in our judging, in our discerning what is right and what is wrong. And then you move from a judge process to an act process. An act process then is a process that is pragmatic. You're beginning to take a step-by-step process of what you are going to do as a response to the Contextual Bible Study. And that you also do with the people that you started with in the C. The people that you moved with from the C to the judge. It's the same people that you move with from the judge to the act. In that way, the method is complete. So the act part, we are emphasizing the importance of the act part because you cannot change systems and structures if you do not act to change your unjust reality in the sea. In the past, we have not really been intentional about the act because we felt we needed not to dictate to the community in terms of what they should do. But we've decided not to go with that method, but to actually be intentional about the act and say to the communities, do something as a result of the CBS. Because we can only change systems if we act and if we challenge the oppression that we see in our context. So the method of See, Judge, Act is a transformational method that is designed to challenge structures and systems and to offer an alternative narrative to the dominant narrative of oppression. So that's our system as Ujamaa, or that's our strategy